Imagine a world where ravens don't just soar, but whisper the fate of warriors and kings. Rivers run red, not with water, but with the blood of ancient giants, believed to shape the very earth beneath Viking feet. A woman's laughter could halt the sun itself. These were not mere stories, but rock-solid truths held by a people whose lives intertwined with the mystical and the brutal. As dawn's silver light peels back the lingering fog, a circle of towering stone monoliths rises each, carved deep with runes, glowing faintly as if breathing ancient power. At the heart of this sacred ring, a hooded seer moves with purpose, casting bones across the rough stone like tarot cards, her fingers stirring raven feathers that whirl like dark omens at her feet. Shadows flicker and dance in the soft light, echoing secrets whispered long ago. A single drop of blood falls from a finely carved spear point, plunging into a steaming cauldron. From the liquid rises a ghostly plume, curling like smoke drawn from the depths of the underworld itself. Overhead, the croak of ravens circles a mournful chorus. The sharp, metallic tang of blood lingers in the air, thick and undeniable. Silence holds the moment, broken only by the soft, eerie whistle of the wind weaving through the ancient runes. Tonight, we step beyond reason, venturing deep into the strangest beliefs, convictions, so fierce and bizarre, they still defy explanation. In the depths of a moonlit grove, where shadows twist and ancient power hums beneath bark and bone, a secret ritual unfolds. Around towering tree trunks strung with bone necklaces, an altar of driftwood and iron stands, weathered by time and sacred to those who know its purpose. Spowler, the seer, her eyes clouded white like polished moonstone, chants in a voice both haunting and steady. Her fingers drum slowly on the teeth of a wolf skull, each tap echoing in the silence, a heartbeat calling to the unseen forces of the world. From the darkness, Eric the war priest emerges, his hands steady though his face is set with solemnity. Clutched in one hand is a bundle of mistletoe, holy and poisonous, wrapped tight in aged leather. In the other, a slender knife drips venom, its blade catching the faint silver light of the moon. Spowler reaches out, plucking a delicate sprig of mistletoe and laying it reverently atop the skull. She intones, her voice low and filled with ancient power. From Yggdrasil's highest branch comes the poison that heals the world. Without hesitation, Eric slices the palm of his hand. Blood wells and beads upon the mistletoe leaves, which begin to steam, tiny tendrils of vapor rising like the breath of the cosmos itself. He draws the vapor deep into his lungs, inhaling as if to drink in the universe's hidden knowledge and power. The camera pulls back, revealing 30 cloaked figures rising silently around the altar. Their eyes blazed with fierce conviction, united by faith in this darkest of healing rites. Bound by the promise that venom can bring life, the steady thump of drums pulses through the night, mingling with the sharp, metallic scent of blood and the earthy aroma of pine and moss. Steam hisses softly as it curls through the cold air, and then a whisper, Svalar's voice cutting through the stillness. Now you carry Odin's venom. The scene fades to black, the weight of ancient power lingering in the silence. We live in a world ruled by science, vaccines that shield us from deadly plagues, MRI scans revealing the mysteries hidden inside our bodies, and sterile labs meticulously mapping every microbe that touches our skin. Doctors move through gleaming hospital corridors, their faces illuminated by the cold glow of digital screens displaying patient data. Nurses glide silently, their movements precise, echoing the efficiency of the machines that beep steadily in the background. The scent of antiseptic hangs in the air, crisp and clean, a constant reminder of control and order. It is a realm defined by exactitude, where every detail is measured, every risk calculated. In this place of certainty and precision, science reigns supreme, our modern shield against the unpredictable forces that once ruled human fate. In stark contrast, the Vikings embraced a world where magic was woven into the very fabric of life. They danced wildly in skins slicked with oil, drenched in honeyed mead, celebrating fertility and strength by rolling gleefully in the pungent mire of cow dung. Around a dung-covered ox carcass, revelers laughed and shouted, their voices rising above the crackling torches that threw flickering shadows across their faces. The sharp sting of smoke mixed with sweat and earth, while the heavy musk of dung clung stubbornly to the night air. Drinking horns clattered, spilling mead as men and women lost themselves in ecstatic celebration. Though strange to modern eyes, these rituals forged identity, community, and resilience, convictions that gave their lives structure and power. No less real because they were drenched in the earth's rawness. Today's scientists culture bacteria under the sterile glow of petri dishes, watching invisible life multiply beneath glass lids. Centuries ago, Vikings gazed skyward, interpreting rare celestial events, blood meteors blazing red across the night as messages from gods like Apollo. Villagers pointed upward with reverent fear, the cold night air crackling with whispered prophecies. While one world seeks understanding through microscopes and empirical study, the other found order by reading omens etched into the heavens. Both approached chaos with longing for meaning, each believing in signs that could guide survival. These parallel quests show how human beings, despite vast differences in knowledge and technology, have always sought to find pattern and purpose amidst uncertainty. Though we often mock the magical and the mawkish, it was belief that gave ancient Vikings their strength and cohesion. Around firelight, elders chanted ancient verses, faces glowing with awe and fierce pride. Their faith forged bonds stronger than steel, fueling courage in battle and endurance in hardship. Meanwhile, in sterile modern labs, scientists peer through microscopes, uncovering secrets of life invisible to the naked eye. Both worlds wield power, one born of faith, the other of reason, but each equally real to those who live within it. In their realm, faith was a force as tangible and commanding as science is in ours, a reminder that belief, whether sacred or secular, remains one of humanity's most potent tools to shape reality and endure the unknown. Vikings viewed the night sky not as mere points of light, but as living entities shaping fate and war. To them, constellations were warriors, serpents, wolves, and ancestors locked in eternal celestial dance, their movements guiding earthly battles and decisions. The night air was cold and still. Campfires crackled softly beneath the starlit heavens as these cosmic beings silently watched over the Viking world. This celestial storytelling was more than myth. It was a practical map, each star a character, each constellation a saga, giving meaning and direction to lives shaped by uncertainty. Folklorists say Vikings mapped the cosmos as a living narrative, a guide for struggles both on the battlefield and beyond. Ravens were more than birds. They were Odin's watchful eyes perched on warriors' shoulders, delivering divine insight. Wolves proud as spirit guides, embodying ferocity and protection, while seals slipped silently between sea and land, symbolizing transitions and mysteries. The rasp of raven wings cut through the air, the chill breath of wolves stirred the forests, and the splash of seals echoed in the icy fjords. Behavioral ecologists explained that Vikings interpreted animal behavior as coded messages from the gods, a natural oracle system through which the divine communicated. These creatures bridged the human and supernatural realms, guiding choices and affirming faith. Blood was sacred power. Tattoos inked in sacrificial rites bound warriors to gods and kin alike, infusing flesh with protective magic. Runes carved into bones served as conduits for curses, cast to enslave enemies or shield loved ones from harm. The sting of ink biting into skin marked allegiance and strength, while burning bones cracked and hissed, releasing spiritual force into the night. Runologists reveal these rites wove magic tightly with warfare, binding body and spirit into a fierce armor beyond the physical. Mystical pact, where runes and blood shaped destiny and survival. To ensure bountiful harvests and communal prosperity, Vikings engaged in wild fertility rituals. They rolled gleefully in cow dung, embracing the earth's rawness as a symbol of renewal and fertility. Mistletoe weddings sealed bonds under sacred boughs, where couples exchanged sprigs amid chanting elders, blending magic with celebration. The earthy musk of dung mingled with the crisp scent of mistletoe, creating an intoxicating atmosphere of sacred wildness. Folklorists note these rites were central to Viking life, both wild and deeply sacred, affirming life's cyclical power and community bonds. Closing invitation. Brace yourself, these beliefs are stranger, darker, and more ingenious than you ever imagined. Vikings saw the night sky as alive, with fierce creatures, wolves stalking the stars, and elk bounding across constellations. These celestial beasts weren't just stories. They shaped the rhythm of life, dictating when raids were launched and rituals performed. Beneath the cold night air, Viking sailors used these living maps to navigate vast oceans, trusting star patterns as guides woven from ancestral lore. The steady pulse of rowing echoed under the constellations as the cosmos whispered destiny. Behavioral ecologist Dr. Freya Lundquist explains that Vikings projected their fears and hopes onto the heavens, turning the sky into a cosmic narrative that governed earthly actions and fate. Meteor showers streaking across the darkened sky were known as Thor's tears, omens of impending doom or divine wrath. These fiery cascades were immortalized on runestones, their shapes carved as warnings to communities. The thunderous roar accompanying meteors seemed to echo the god Thor's hammer, signaling war, disaster, or change. Standing under these skies, Vikings read the heavens as messages from the gods. Runologist Professor Magnus Haraldsson highlights how such celestial events were etched into stone, not only as records, but as spiritual alerts, blending natural phenomena with divine storytelling. The flash of meteors across black skies became an unignorable call, carving fear and reverence deep into Viking culture. Ravens, sacred to Odin, were more than birds. They were messengers and diviners. Archaeologists have unearthed raven skulls from holy groves, suggesting their flight paths were studied for omens. The rustle of feathers and sharp claws pierced the forests as Vikings interpreted these movements as direct messages from the divine. A raven landing on a warrior's shoulder was a sign of favor. Erratic flight meant caution. Behavioral ecologist Dr. Lundquist notes that these flight patterns were far from random. They were a coded language connecting humans to gods. This avian oracle bridged natural observation and spiritual guidance, weaving a vital thread in Viking decision-making and belief systems. Flickering seal oil lamps found in coastal caves illuminate more than darkness. They shed light on rituals invoking sea spirits. The warm glow revealed carvings of seals, revered creatures believed to navigate between worlds. The distant crash of waves mingled with whispered incantations, calling upon protectors or omens of fate tied to the sea's moods. Dr. Lundquist explains these lamps were integral to ceremonies that bridged human and supernatural realms. Especially important for seafarers reliant on nature's caprices. In the hidden coves, the sacred fires and oil smoke became conduits to unseen forces, a vital part of spiritual survival on the unpredictable waters. Grave sites reveal bone needles and red ochre pigments, hinting at tattoos etched onto Viking warriors, skin symbols mirroring runic inscriptions found on amulets and weapons. These blood runes were more than decoration. They were magical seals intended to bind curses or blessings, acting as mystical armor on the battlefield. The sting of the needle as pigment sank into flesh was a rite of passage and a call to divine protection. Professor Magnus Haraldsson emphasizes that these marks were as binding as iron shackle stools of psychological and spiritual warfare. Warriors believed these curses could weaken foes by name and protect kin through sacred symbols. The rustle of banners in battle and the flicker of these tattoos under sun and shadow melded flesh and magic in a fierce bond. Peat bogs preserve more than history, they cradle evidence of dung-rolling pits near granaries, a fertility rite vital to Viking agriculture. These pits, smeared with animal waste, were believed to enrich the soil and ensure bountiful harvests. Archaeologists uncovered layers of peat, revealing human and animal traces, underscoring the sacredness of filth. Villagers, reenacting dung-rolling rites, felt the earthy musk and the squelch of wet soil beneath their feet, connecting life and decay in an ancient cycle. Behavioral ecologist Dr. Lundquist explains that filth was revered, a tangible force of renewal as vital as sunlight or rain. This sacred dirtiness was a cornerstone of Viking understanding life, born from the earth's dark generosity. Mistletoe rings, hung on massive sacrificial oaks, symbolize life thriving amid death's shadow. Molecular analysis reveals traces of oak alkaloids, confirming these wreaths were more than decoration. They were potent symbols of renewal and divine blessing. Beneath the rustling leaves, villagers gathered to perform rites, invoking protection and fertility. The crisp scent of foliage mixed with the reverent whispers of prayers. Professor Magnus Haraldsson notes mistletoe was magic made visible, a green thread connecting the living world with the divine. These sacred boughs embodied the paradox of death and life intertwined, an emblem central to Viking spirituality and seasonal cycles. Unearthed, rune-carved snot jars offer a window into Viking bodily and spiritual practices. These vessels, inscribed with protective runes, contain residue analytes revealing potions, medicines, and ritual substances once held within. Lab scans reveal crystals and compounds preserved over centuries, sparkling under microscopes. The faint hum of scientific instruments accompanies visuals of these jars as secrets unfold traces of healing bombs, curse mixtures, and alchemical brews. Dr. Lundquist explains these jars were vessels of life and death. Bridging the physical and metaphysical, they carried not only bodily fluids but the intangible hopes and fears of a people deeply entwined with magic and medicine. This residue analysis opens new pathways to understanding Viking health, belief, and survival. A 3D fly-through reconstructs an ancient ritual grover, sacred theatre, where runes glow faintly on carved stones. Ravens perch silently as sentinels, and mistletoe loops drape overhead. The animation transitions from night to day, revealing cloaked participants moving in trance and ceremony. The crackle of firelight mingles with distant raven calls and the whisper of wind through leaves, creating an immersive sensory experience. This grove was more than landscape, it was a stage for spiritual communion, where nature, spirit, and survival entwined. The surrounding trees bore silent witness to rites invoking protection, fertility, and fate. Experts say this sacred space was a vital axis for Viking belief systems, merging the earthly with the divine in profound mystery and power. Twilight spreads its veil across the moor, bathing ancient stone circles in the soft glow of lantern light. Hooded figures emerge from the shadows, moving in solemn procession toward the sacred site. Each step is deliberate prayer, a vow whispered into the chill air. The soft crackle of burning peat fills the silence, mingling with the faint scent of smoke and damp earth. Faces are shadowed, breaths misting, as centuries of belief press upon every heartbeat. The air feels charged, alive, with the presence of unseen powers. This is more than ritual, it is the pulse of a culture where every act is a thread woven into the fabric of survival and faith. As the circle nears, the flicker of flame dances on carved runes, promising secrets and strength to those gathered. Hugin and Munanodin's eyes and memory take wing against a backdrop of blood-red dusk clouds. Their sleek black forms cut sharp silhouettes as they rise and wheel in the fading light. Watching chieftains follow their flight with reverent eyes, knowing these ravens carry whispers of the past and portents of the future, the rasp of feathers beating the air echoes like an ancient omen, a call to vigilance and wisdom. These birds are more than messengers. They are oracles, spies, and guides, ferrying secrets to the Allfather's council. Their flight is both physical and spiritual, a bridge between mortal and divine, thought and memory. As the ravens vanish into the gathering night, their symbolic journey weaves fate and power into the hearts of those below. In the biting cold of a winter's night, a seer cloaked in furs communes silently with her wolf companion. Together they traverse snow-blanketed forests, their breaths mingling with the sharp air. Cairn burials, unearthed by archaeologists, reveal wolf pelts alongside human remains, a testament to this sacred bond. The crunch of frozen earth underfoot echoes through the stillness as the wolf's keen eyes guide lost warriors through treacherous snows. The woman's whispered words and the beast's low growl forge a pact of survival and trust, one that bridges spirit and nature. This union was not merely symbolic, it was a lifeline, a blending of human insight and wild instinct that shaped the fate of those who dared winter's wrath. Among fierce warriors, bone shards etched with runes were embedded in enemy shields, a dreaded ritual known as the Bloodfang Curse. These shards, stained with fresh blood, were believed to sap luck and courage from foes, leaving them vulnerable and broken. The sting of embedding bone into wood was a sacred pain, a sacrifice to bind dark magic to physical battle. Flames flickered on faces, twisted in grim determination as these cursed weapons were wielded. Runologist Professor Magnus Haraldsson explains that blood runes were potent magical bonds as strong as iron chains, capable of haunting enemies long after the fight ended. The crackle of firewood and the murmur of incantations blended with the clash of steel, weaving a tapestry of flesh, spirit, and sorcery that defined Viking warfare. Under the silver light of a full moon, peasants and nobles alike abandoned dignity to roll in cow dung, fertility ritual charged with earthy power. Laughter rings out, bodies slick with muck and joy as the pungent musk fills the air. This sacred filth is a promise to Odin, a raw invocation of growth and abundance. The sticky wetness clings to skin, mingling with breathless chants and rhythmic stomps. Far from mere folly, this rite binds community and earth, sealing hopes of plentiful harvests. Behavioral ecologist Dr. Freya Lundquist notes that such rituals honored the cycles of decay and renewal, making filth a vessel for sacred transformation. In the heart of this messy jubilation, life's raw forces converge, reminding all that fertility is born from the humblest origins. Beneath towering ancient oaks, couples exchange sprigs of mistletoe in a high-stakes fertility ceremony. Elders chant incantations, their voices weaving through the crisp air. As the fresh scent of leaves envelops the gathering, these mistletoe weddings bind partners not only in union but in sacred promise, their fertility tied to the harvest's fate. Failure in this ritual is said to curse the land with blight for 7 seasons, casting shadows over kin and crops alike. The mistletoe's evergreen resilience symbolizes life thriving amid death, a powerful emblem of hope and renewal. Folklorists explain that such rituals intertwined love, magic, and community, creating bonds that transcended mere vows to embody cosmic order. The delicate balance of life's promise hangs on these verdant sprigs, sacred and potent. The peat fire crackles with steady rhythm, its warm glow cutting through the moor's cold darkness. Flames dance along the edges of the stone circle, casting flickering shadows on the faces of hooded figures. The smoky scent of burning peat mingles with the crisp night air, creating an atmosphere charged with ancient power. Incantations rise in hushed tones, echoing against the stones as the fire's pop and hiss punctuate the sacred stillness. This fire serves as guardian and witness to rites unfolding beneath the stars, a beacon of life and protection in a harsh world. The hearth's warmth soothes tense muscles and bolsters spirits, reminding all present that even in darkness, light and hope endure. Across the frozen moor, a lone wolf's howl cuts sharply through the night, a primal call that reverberates over hills and valleys. The sharp chill of the air seems to carry the sound far and wide, stirring both fear and reverence among the gathered, silhouetted against the pale moonlight. The wolf stands as a symbol of wild power and ancient spirits, roaming alongside humanity. Its cry weaves through the cold, threading together the primal and the spiritual, reminding those assembled of their fragile place in the natural order. This distant howl stirs memories of strength, survival, and the deep connection between man and beast, a bond as old as the land itself. A crimson drop falls slowly onto run-carved stone, its metallic scent sharp in the cool night air. Each bead of blood triggers an unseen power, binding spells that intertwine flesh and spirit. The cold stone drinks the life essence, amplifying the magic carved in ancient symbols. Close-ups reveal the textured runes, worn smooth by time but still potent as ever. The slow drip echoes in the hush, a rhythmic testament to devotion and sacrifice. Experts note that blood was viewed as life's thread, weaving strength and protection into stone, forging bonds between mortals and gods. This sacred act elevates the ritual, transforming mere blood into a vessel of divine power. As the rite concludes, 2 ravens descend silently to perch upon the stone altar, their glossy black feathers absorbing the flickering torchlight. The flutter of wings and the gentle settling hush the gathered crowd. Their presence is a sign Odin's approval bestowed upon the proceedings. Faces lift in reverence, breath held in a collective moment of awe. The birds embody the divine connection between the earthly and the spiritual, messengers bridging realms. Their solemn grace affirms that the ritual has succeeded, the gods' will made manifest through nature's emissaries. In that stillness, the line between man and myth blurs, leaving a sacred imprint on all present. Warriors gather around flickering fires, their faces set in fierce determination as they prepare to swear oaths bound by blood and runes. Each man slices his palm, pressing fresh blood to the hilt of a runic sword, sealing promises with sacred ink and iron. The sting of the wound mingles with the crackle of battle cries rising into the night. These oaths are not mere words. They are sacred contracts, invoking the wrath of gods against betrayal. The bond is unbreakable, stronger than chains, and fuels courage on the battlefield. Experts explain that these divine bonds forged loyalty and fear in equal measure, ensuring warriors fought with a fierceness born from both spiritual and mortal stakes. The night echoes with solemn vows that linger long after the fires fade. As the seasons turn, communities gather in fields heavy with ripened grain. Songs rise in celebration, voices lifting with the breeze as offerings are laid upon earth altars. Ritual fires send smoke curling skyward, carrying prayers for fertile soil and abundant harvests. The scent of ripe grain fills the air, mingling with the warmth of glowing embers. Farmers dance among stalks, weaving ancient chants into the rhythm of planting and reaping. These harvest rites blend toil and magic, binding humans to the cycles of the land. Hope is sown into the very soil, a testament to the intimate relationship between people and earth. Such rituals reaffirm communal bonds and the sacredness of renewal, nurturing faith in nature's enduring bounty. As darkness recedes, the moor holds its breath in a sacred pause. Grey light slowly creeps over ancient stones, washing away shadows and revealing the worn faces of hooded figures bowed in quiet reflection. The air is still, heavy with the weight of the night's rites and the promise of renewal. The soft rustle of cloaks and the distant call of awakening birds mark the world's gentle stirring. This moment is a bridge between the mysteries of night and the clarity of dawn, between human vulnerability and enduring faith. Experts say this quiet is the heart of the ritual, a sacred exhale that prepares souls for the cycles of life to continue. The moor breathes in peace, ready to begin anew. In the final hush before dawn, 2 black ravens take flight from the stone circle, their silhouettes cutting across the pale sky, a symbol of continuity, protection, and the eternal dance between myth and reality. In Viking culture, identity was more than lineage, was myth embodied. Clans traced their origins to gods, and their crests bore fierce symbols like ravens and wolves. Each feather and fang a mark of divine favor and unwavering loyalty. A vibrant runic manuscript depicts a warrior with raven feathers woven into his beard, his gaze fierce and resolute, a living testament to his sacred heritage. The rustle of those feathers whispers through history, heavy with ancestral power. Every carved symbol in wood or ink, etched on skin, carried meaning, binding individuals to their kin and to the cosmic order. Cultural psychologist Dr. Sigrid Thamson explains, myth wasn't fantasy, it was the backbone of social order and personal honor, reinforcing identity through sacred narrative. These symbols were not mere decoration, but a living code shaping Viking lives, dictating honor, allegiance, and belonging in a world governed by unseen forces. Animal omens provided Vikings with a means to impose order on the chaotic uncertainties of life. The sharp, commanding caw of ravens and the haunting howl of wolves were interpreted as messages from the gods, signaling fortune or impending disaster. Raiders and warriors keenly observed the flight of ravens circling over misty battlefields, reading the patterns as divine counsel. Warriors' tense faces revealed the weight they placed on these signs, knowing that ignoring such omens could bring ruin. The cold breath of dawn mist mingled with the sharp cries, heightening the atmosphere of anticipation and dread. These animal portents served as psychological anchors, providing explanations for random misfortunes and channeling fear into purposeful action. As one scholar notes, omens were psychological anchors in a world of uncertainty, helping communities maintain cohesion and control amidst constant threats. Dung rolling was a ritual that inverted the strict social hierarchies of Viking society, transforming peasants into priests for a single night. Under the full moon's glow, villagers cast aside their daily roles, laughing and rolling in the pungent muck. This sacred filth, far from degrading, was a powerful symbol of fertility and renewal. The heavy musk of manure mixed with the slap of wet skin on earth as bodies moved with joyous abandon. Elders watched with knowing smiles, understanding the importance of this temporary release from societal pressures. Cultural psychologist Dr. Thompson explains that such rituals allowed communities to manage accumulated stress and tension, reinforcing social bonds through controlled chaos. This brief inversion served to balance the rigidity of everyday life, renewing collective strength and harmony by embracing the sacred power of filth and laughter. In Viking culture, tattoos and blood oaths were far more than symbols. They were the cement of loyalty and unity. Warriors bore intricate runic tattoos, applied with bone needles and red ochre pigments, each mark a sacred promise etched into flesh. Groups sealed their bonds with blood oaths, mixing fresh blood in ceremonial bowls to invoke divine witness. The sting of the needle and the metallic taste of blood forged a visceral connection between individuals. Transcending mere words, this shared pain created trust, forming psychological unity essential for survival in harsh and dangerous times. Cultural psychologist Dr. Thompson highlights that physical marks and rituals created psychological unity, transforming fear and uncertainty into fierce allegiance. These rites bound warriors and kin alike, ensuring that loyalty was etched deep, visible and invisible, in both flesh and spirit. Rituals, no matter how strange or archaic they may appear, formed the scaffolding upon which Viking culture was built. From birth ceremonies to battle preparations, repetitive, symbolic acts shaped behavior, resolved social tensions, and reinforced group identity. Time-lapse sequences show rituals spanning generations, each act passed down like sacred code. The chanting voices and flickering firelight became more than background. They were active agents, molding collective experience. Experts emphasize that rituals turned abstract beliefs into lived realities, creating a culture where myth and practice were inseparable. This cultural scaffolding provided structure in a turbulent world, embedding values and social norms through repeated action. Ritual was not merely performance, but a vital mechanism for social cohesion, control, and identity formation, essential for survival and resilience. Primal fears of death, chaos, and the unknown were harnessed and transformed through Viking rituals into sources of communal strength. Scenes of warriors clasping hands before battle and villagers singing in ceremonial unison depict how dread was redirected. The steady beating of drums and warmth of joined hands create a sensory experience of solidarity and resolve. Instead of fragmenting communities, shared fears became the glue that held them together, fostering resilience against external threats. Dr. Thompson notes, shared rituals provided psychological safety nets, offering emotional protection and empowering individuals through collective identity. This transformation of fear into strength enabled Vikings to face harsh environments and brutal conflicts with courage rooted in communal bonds, showing how psychological mechanisms underpinned cultural survival. Viking folklore served as a living archive, preserving history, cultural values, and communal memory through oral storytelling. Around fires, sagas were woven, binding past and present in narratives that educated and united. The crackle of fire and the hush of attentive listeners create an intimate atmosphere, where tales come alive and lessons are passed down. Folklore encoded warnings, moral lessons, and identity markers, ensuring continuity amid change. Experts emphasize that these stories were more than entertainment, they were the living thread connecting generations, reinforcing societal norms and shared experiences. Folklore shaped collective consciousness, allowing Vikings to navigate a complex world with shared understanding, identity, and purpose. Viking rites and beliefs, strange, dark, and ingenious, were profound reflections of their society's values and fears. A montage reveals rituals, battles, and celebrations woven tightly into daily life. Sensory details punctuated by clangs of swords and murmured prayers. These rites mirrored the Vikings' relentless pursuit of order, identity, and survival in a volatile world. Their beliefs were not superstitions, but adaptive cultural systems that shaped behavior and social cohesion. Closing reflections emphasize that their strangest rites were their truest mirrors, revealing how belief forged communities and sustained them through hardship. Through myth and ritual, Vikings constructed a worldview where the seen and unseen were intertwined, making culture and belief inseparable forces driving societal resilience. Beneath the Earth's surface, hidden from daylight, lies a mysterious grotto. Stone circles, darkened with age and ritual, form an ancient chamber. Scattered raven bones, brittle and blackened, rest silently on the cold floor, remnants of sacrifices long past. The faint flicker of torchlight reveals runes carved deep into the stones, their meaning lost to time but powerfully felt. The damp chill clings to the air, a whisper of the otherworld, while the faint scrape of stone on stone echoes softly in the cavern's depths. This secret sanctum was a place where the veil between worlds thinned, where mortal and spirit could almost touch. Here, the most profound and hidden rituals unfolded, harnessing forces beyond sight, shaping belief and forging bonds between man, nature, and the divine. Carved deep beneath burial mounds lie chambers designed to amplify the primal beat of long drums. These earthen halls captured the deep reverberations, turning sound into a powerful force that entranced worshippers. The rhythmic pulse, echoing through bone and earth, blurred the boundaries of time and self, coaxing trance-like states and opening minds to visions beyond the ordinary. Animations reveal sound waves bouncing within the chambers, while shadowed figures sway gently, caught in the drum's spell. Professor Navan Patel explains, rhythm and sound rewired the brain, an ancient neurochemical gateway. These acoustic wonders were no accident, but carefully engineered to harness the power of sound, altering perception and deepening communal connection during sacred rites. Mistletoe ceremonies were meticulously timed to coincide with solstitial full moons, moments when cosmic energy and earthly potency aligned. Beneath glowing moonlight filtering through thick branches laden with sap-rich mistletoe, elders prepared sacred rites, their movements slow and deliberate. The cool glow bathed the scene in silver light, while the crisp herbal scent of mistletoe filled the air, invigorating the senses. This celestial timing was believed to heighten the plant's spiritual power, connecting participants to the rhythms of nature and the divine. The convergence of sap, flow, and lunar illumination magnified the efficacy of rituals, making these ceremonies potent acts of renewal and blessing. The cosmic alignment was more than symbolism. It was a powerful enhancer of mystical energy, deeply embedded in Viking spiritual practice. In solemn gatherings, clansmen sealed unbreakable bonds by mixing their blood in ornate drinking horns. The crimson liquid shimmered in firelight as hands bled freely, pouring into the vessel from cuts made with sacred blades. The shared act of drinking bound memory and loyalty through the physicality of shared sacrifice and trauma. Flames flickered on rough-hewn faces, eyes alight with fierce determination and trust. The metallic temps of blood mixed with the warmth of fire, creating a charged atmosphere heavy with meaning. Professor Leif Gunnarsson notes, blood oaths forged unbreakable social contracts, transforming individual commitment into collective responsibility. This ritual sealed alliances stronger than any treaty, ensuring that betrayal was met not only with shame, but with the wrath of the gods, reinforcing unity and social order in the harsh Viking world. Runemasters labored in the glow of smiths' fires, etching intricate runes onto bone shards with practiced precision. These bone runes were more than symbols, they were vessels of magical power. The warm breath of the runemaster, deliberate and steady, was believed to activate the rune, breathing life into ink and bone alike. Flames licked at wooden beams, casting flickering shadows across the workshop as smoke curled upward. The crackling fire and pungent sting of smoke filled the air, mingling with the palpable sense of focused intent. Expert Gunnarsson explains, magic was crafted, breathed into existence. As these runes became living curses or protective charms, the forging process transformed inert materials into powerful talismans, linking physical craft with spiritual potency in the Viking magical tradition. Rune-carved stones emitted low-frequency roars as chanting figures gathered, their voices rising and falling in cosmic rhythm. These chants were carefully timed to lunar peaks, syncing human words and breath with celestial cycles. Visuals show figures circling glowing stones beneath a rising full moon, their synchronized voices weaving an ancient sonic tapestry. The sensory experience builds with the crescendo of layered chants, the pulse of drums, and the electric charge in the cool night air. This synchronization with the cosmos was believed to enhance ritual efficacy, binding earthly acts with universal forces. Emotional resonance filled the air as the community joined in a collective invocation. This intertwining of runes and roars created a powerful feedback loop between human and heavens, solidifying belief through sound and timing. Long before modern chemistry, Vikings engineered altered states of consciousness through ritual science. Using sound, darkness, and carefully timed ceremonies, they rewrote perception and bolstered communal belief. Split-screen imagery contrasts the deep reverberations of ritual drums with modern brain scans showing neural activity during trance states. Faces flicker in firelight, eyes glazed in trance or intense focus. Neuroanthropologist Dr. Patel observes, these ancient neural hacks shaped minds and cultures, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of how ritual affects brain chemistry. The rituals weren't mere superstition, but deliberate psychological engineering, creating shared, altered states that reinforced social cohesion, spiritual experience, and cultural identity. This ritual science laid a foundation upon which later chemical sciences would build. A slow, immersive pan through the underground ritual site reveals flickering torchlight illuminating rune-carved stones and scattered raven bones, casting shifting shadows. The deep thrum of drums resonates, weaving through the silence and filling the chamber with palpable energy. Smoke from burning herbs curls upward, carrying scents of pine, sage, and earth into the cool air. The faint glow of runes pulses softly, casting ethereal light on ancient implements, a drum carved with symbols, a bloodied horn, and bone shards inscribed with glowing runes. The sensory tapestry, the drum beats, the hiss of smoke, the scent of earth and resin evokes a place both sacred and powerful, hidden from the world above. Anthropologist Professor Leif Gunnarsson reflects. Here lay the hidden mechanisms of belief where sound, blood, and stone wove an ancient tapestry of power. A testament to the sophisticated ritual science underpinning Viking spirituality and communal life. At modern music festivals, drum circles pulse beneath full moons, thousands swaying in trance-like unison. This deep, rhythmic synchrony forges social bonds, dissolving individuality into collective experience. The steady, resonant drum beats echo primal human impulses, mirroring Viking rituals where long drums summoned warriors and worshippers into ecstatic cohesion. Visuals shift between modern festival-goers with hands raised, faces alight in firelight, and Viking warriors pounding drums amid swirling mist. The shared breath and heartbeat of the crowd unify mind and body. Dr. Emma Clark explains. Ritual rhythms convert fear into belonging, an ancient neuropsychological tool still in use today. These timeless pulses link us to our ancestors, proving that the power of sound to bind people is as alive now as it was a millennium ago. Corporate logos and fandom flags act as modern totems, rallying identity and loyalty just as wolf and raven crests did for Vikings. Sports arenas swell, with fans waving brightly colored banners, painting faces with team insignia symbols that mark belonging and define tribal allegiance. The roar of the crowd and the fluttering of fabric create a powerful sensory backdrop to this ritualized belonging. Sociologist Professor Navin Patel observes, humans crave symbolic belonging, whether through ancient runes or digital brands. These modern emblems connect individuals to communities, channeling collective pride and fierce loyalty. Though the imagery differs, the function is unchanged: to create social cohesion, mark identity, and enforce shared values within groups, continuing a human tradition as old as civilization itself. Military blood brothers seal loyalty through matching tattoos, transforming shared pain into permanent bonds, a modern echo of Viking blood oaths sealed in communal sacrifice. Soldiers gather in tattoo parlors, grimacing through needle stings as fresh runes and symbols adorn their skin. The antiseptic scent mixes with the metallic temps of blood, heightening the ritual's intensity. This physical marking transcends mere decoration. It is a psychological anchor, a visible token of trust and shared identity. Dr. Emma Clark notes, tattooing transforms pain into psychological unity. These contemporary rituals bind individuals as tightly as the ancient oaths, strengthening group cohesion through embodied experience. The inked symbols become lifelong reminders of loyalty, courage, and the enduring power of ritual to transform human relationships. Full moon parties and music pilgrimages echo Viking mistletoe, weddings ritual releases, blending community, nature, and cosmic rhythms. Under glowing lunar light, crowds dance with abandon, bodies moving to pulsing beats that stir primal energy. Visuals contrast modern revelers, immersed in music festivals with elders performing solemn rites beneath ancient oaks. The cool kiss of night air mingles with electronic rhythms, forging a liminal space where time blurs and social barriers fall away. These celebrations are contemporary rites of passage, rooted in ancient cycles of renewal and fertility. They embody a collective longing for connection to each other, to nature, and to forces beyond. The moon's timeless glow bridges past and present, reminding us that beneath modernity lies an enduring human desire to commune through ritual. Rituals across ages transform primal fear into group cohesion, turning anxiety and chaos into collective resilience. Modern fans, chanting in unison, mirror Viking warriors, clasping hands before battle, their voices weaving a tapestry of shared strength. The roar of thousands and the steady pulse of heartbeats become a symphony of belonging. Dr. Clark explains. Belonging eases anxiety. Ritual is the mind's remedy. This psychological alchemy converts isolation into solidarity, making individuals part of something larger than themselves. The ritualistic behaviors help regulate emotions, build trust, and foster cooperation vital for survival. Whether on the ancient battlefield or in today's social arenas, this ancient human strategy endures, showing how fear, once tamed by shared ritual, becomes a powerful force for unity. Runes have evolved into digital symbols, emojis, hashtags, and icons, forming modern symbolic languages that connect global communities instantly. Smartphones buzz with messages containing rune-inspired emojis. Social media feeds flood with trending hashtags that rally causes and fandoms alike. The soft tap of screens and the glow of pixels illuminate darkened rooms, creating virtual spaces of belonging. Professor Patel notes, symbolic meaning adapts but never disappears. While the medium shifts from carved stone to digital code, the human need to communicate identity, allegiance, and emotion through symbols remains constant. These digital runes function as modern tribal marks, forging connections across distances and cultures. They remind us that language and symbolism evolve, but continue to shape social realities, binding individuals into networks of meaning and community. Whether Viking or modern, rituals serve as ongoing experiments in social cohesion, testing how belief, shared pain, and symbolism forge collective identity. Visual montages blend Viking feasts, tattoo sessions, and contemporary festivals, highlighting the shared human impulse to ritualize experience. The crackle of fire, the sting of ink, and the roar of crowds underscore the sensory and emotional power of these acts. Dr. Clark asserts, human unity is forged through repeated, shared ritual. These rituals create safe spaces for expression, solidarity, and transformation. They reinforce social bonds and cultural continuity, allowing communities to navigate uncertainty and change. From ancient rites to modern celebrations, ritual remains a fundamental tool in constructing meaning and fostering resilience among humans. The strangest Viking beliefs were not relics, but living experiments in human unity and fear. Management rituals replayed every weekend on modern stages. Festival crowds fade into scenes of Viking ceremonies beneath full moons, connecting past and present. The beat of drums and murmur of chants echo through time, linking us to ancestral ways of making meaning. These rituals, wild and profound, show how humans have always sought belonging through rhythm, symbol, and shared story. As Dr. Clark reflects, in their wild rites, we find echoes of ourselves, bound by rhythm, symbol, and shared story. The ancient and the contemporary merge, revealing a timeless human quest to transform fear into community, chaos into order, and strangers into kin. Dawn breaks softly over the ancient runestone circle. Ravens wheel gracefully in the pale morning light as mist lifts slowly, revealing carved symbols etched deep into weathered stone. They trusted ravens' blood and dung to steer their fate, an alchemy of belief both strange and profound that anchored their communities. Though distant and alien to us now, their rituals ripple through time, echoing in our own ceremonies of identity and solidarity. Swala, the seer, kneels in dew-soaked grass, extinguishing her bone-tipped torch. She traces ancient runes once more into the earther, silent act of connection and continuity. Meanwhile, a modern ritualist closes a festival's flame circle. The drum beats fading, but the bonds forged in shared experience lingering on. Perhaps the true mystery lies not in why they believed these rites, but in why we still seek magic in symbols unseen, finding meaning beyond the visible. What beliefs of our own will future generations find inexplicably, and what hidden power do they hold for us today? A single raven feather drifts gently down, landing within a rune circle carved into the soil. The cycle of belief turns unbroken across the ages, linking past and present in an eternal dance of human spirit and ritual.